Today's video is brought to you by Vinyl Moon. Vinyl Moon is the all-in-one deluxe vinyl discovery. Every month they press awesome music on beautiful colored records and send them right to your door. Join today with discount code Vinyl Eyezz to get 10% off. Alright, now today we're talking about the greatest Walkman ever made. Hey friends, welcome back. So this is the Sony D6C, a portable cassette player that many people believe is the greatest Walkman ever made. Now, what's so great about this thing? Well, it has a ton of features that you're just not going to find on any other Walkman. So today I'm going to show you what exactly those are, and I'll also give you a few tips about cassettes in general. So if you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up. Now, before we dive in, today's song of the day is Head Over Heels by Tears for Fears. And if you have a suggestion for a song of the day as well, post in the comments down below and you might see it in a future video. Alright, now first of all, where did I get this thing? Well, last year, Nico from Germany, one of our members on the channel, mailed it to us at the P.O. box. He had just finished repairing it and wanted to send it over because he knows I'm a huge nerd about everything vintage audio related. So Nico, yet again, thank you so much, man. You're awesome. Now, I've been testing this out for the past several months, and the more time I spend with it, the more I realize just how special it really is. So first off, the Walkman can play and record all three types of cassette tapes. Type 1, ferric oxide, which has average sound quality. Type 2, chromium dioxide, which has better sound. And finally, Type 4, metal, which has the best sound of all. And as a side note, the Type 3 tapes never really caught on. So basically, the D6C will play anything you can throw at it. Now, the Walkman also features a counter at the top, which you can reset at any time, Dolby B and C noise reduction for reducing tape hiss, VU meters that light up so you can monitor your recording and playback levels, and it even has a very stealthy battery compartment on the left-hand side that takes 4 AA's. Now, on the bottom of the unit, it also has the volume slider, play, pause, fast forward, rewind, stop, and eject buttons. On the right side, it features the headphone jack, a mic jack, a record button, and an adjustable recording dial. And finally, on the very back, it has a line input, a line output, 2 adjustments to fine-tune the speed, and last of all, the power connection, just in case those batteries run out of juice. So as you can see, this thing is just loaded with features that you don't see on any other portable cassette players. So in that sense, this feels more like a mini cassette deck than it does a Walkman. It's really nice. Now, speaking of cool features, another thing I like about the D6C is that once it reaches the end of the tape, it automatically stops itself and turns itself off. So if you accidentally fall asleep while you're listening to it, you don't need to worry about it draining your batteries, which is awesome. So I'm not sure if other Walkmans have that, but it is something I noticed with this one. Now, 2 other things I noticed that are worth mentioning is that underneath the Walkman, it has these 4 rubber feet so that the body won't get scratched if you happen to set it down on a hard surface. So that's a nice little detail that I really like. And finally, it also has these 2 metal posts on the sides where you can attach a carrying strap. Now, since these posts have such an odd shape, I wasn't able to find a modern strap that would work with it, so I actually ended up ordering the original off eBay, which was not cheap. In fact, none of the accessories were. And I ordered quite a few of them, but we'll get back to that in a second. Now, you may be wondering, how old is this Walkman? Well, Sony made the D6Cs from 1984 till 2002, and since the model I have here is in fact a first generation, it's not unreasonable to think that this very Walkman could be 37 years old. So considering its age, getting original parts for it naturally was going to be expensive, and lo and behold, it was. So to make a short story long, I begrudgingly forked over $110 for the original carry strap, $120 for the original case, $70 for the original power cable, and finally 2 of these It's a Sony stickers for $10 a piece, because at this point, why not? Now, since all of that was quite the investment, I also picked up a Pelican case to protect everything. And as a side note, I used toothpicks and the Pelican's pick and pluck foam to measure out the exact dimensions so that all the accessories could fit perfectly inside the case. So if you look here, we got the player, the case, strap, extra batteries, power cord, cassette demagnetizer, aux cord, Q-tips, Sony stickers, and 14 tapes to all fit inside this one case, which is really cool. Now I also got this shelf on Etsy which holds 40 tapes from a company called Van Broren Design. So this company basically makes like modern versions of those older Napa Valley cassette shelves. So if you're not able to find those on eBay, or if they're just simply too expensive, you can always go with these, and overall, I think they're a better buy. Now last of all, I also ordered a cassette pressure pad repair kit from a company called Sleevey Wonder. Very clever. A tape head and pinch roller cleaner from a company called Audio 456, and finally, 6 Sade cassettes. Now, I also thought about getting a pair of retro 80s style headphones with like the orange ear pads to go along with the Walkman, but then I decided against it because it's such a nice piece of audio gear that I should really pair it with better cans, like the Audio-Technica M50Xs or my Sony XM3s. So that's what I ended up doing. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for this Walkman. And as you can tell, I went a little cassette crazy, but in these weird quarantine times, can you really blame me? Now, another important thing I should mention is that this was not actually the first Walkman ever made. The original Walkman was the TPS-L2, which came out in 1979. That one is a lot more famous and was most recently featured in the film Guardians of the Galaxy. In the movie, it belonged to Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord. Now, just because that model was the first Walkman does not mean it was the best Walkman. It had no line input, no line output, no recording mode, and no Dolby noise reduction. So basically, you could play tapes, but you couldn't make your own mixtapes. And that's kind of a bummer. However, that's not the case with this one. On the D6C, you can play tapes, record tapes, connect it to your turntable, your receiver, your CD player, pretty much anything you want to do with it, and it will not skip a beat. So in my opinion, even though the original is more widely known, this one is a better model overall. Now, speaking of music that sounds great, I want to show you all this record from today's sponsor, Vinyl Moon. This is volume 54, and it's called Sun Ray Surfaces. As you can see, it's on clear vinyl, but also features this nice splotch of violet in the center, which looks really cool. Now, all the artwork on the record is by Andre Pereira, and I think he did a great job creating this sort of sunny, laid-back, and vintage theme to the gatefold. I really like the use of gold foil accents on the cover, the beautiful sunset on the inside, and especially these cool little leaf stickers which complement the rest of the artwork. Now, as far as the music is concerned, my favorite songs on the record are Better in You by Hunch, which is a nice indie dance track about true love, and Chop Chop by Burger, which is a catchy, beat-driven, lyrically impressive track about a breakup. So like I said, if you want to check out Vinyl Moon for yourself, their link will be down below. Alright, now getting back to cassettes, one question you may be wondering is, are they still making them in 2021? And the answer is yes. There's currently 2 companies that are still manufacturing blank tapes as we speak. The first is a French company called Recording the Masters. They make Type 1 tapes based on BASF and AGFA formulas in both 60 and 90-minute versions, and you can order both directly on their website. Now, the second company is based here in the US and is called National Audio Company. They produce a Type 1 tape as well, however, they use their own proprietary formula, and they call it the Ferrell Master 256. Now, although that seems like a great tape, the only downside of it is that the minimum order you can place on their website is for 1 carton of them, which is 100 cassettes. So maybe they'll change that in the near future and we can go back to ordering smaller packs of 10, but for now, this is probably a better option for bands. Now, speaking of National Audio Company, they also used to make a Type 2 Chrome tape as well, but have since discontinued it. However, thankfully for me, when I saw these back at Amoeba a few years ago, I stocked up on them and bought a lot at once. And now I'm really glad I did that. So NAC, if you happen to be watching, please make these again. They're awesome. Now, speaking of tapes, if you're thinking about getting a Walkman or a cassette deck in the near future, I have 4 helpful tips for you. Number 1, if you're ever playing a cassette and it sounds like it's underwater, like this, then make sure you have the right tape type selected and the right noise reduction selected. If it's Type 2 with Dolby C and you play it as a Type 1 with Dolby B, you're gonna have problems. So just be aware of that. Number 2 is that when you're making mixtapes, be sure you set a loud enough level so you can be far away from the noise floor. On this Walkman, I like to set my record level at around 7, and that usually gives me a nice, clean signal. Everything is loud and clear. And honestly, that's kind of one of the cool things about analog tape. You can push it a little further and you won't get distortion. Number 3 is that you should never reverse the polarity of the power adapter. What the heck does that mean? Well, as Nico explained it to me on Instagram, because I'm not as electronically literate as he is, if we look at this picture right here, you see how the little symbol on the Walkman matches the symbol on the power adapter? That means that everything is going to work perfectly. Everything is going to talk to each other and it's going to be good. However, if we look up here, we can see that this power cord has the positive and negative reversed. So that is going to cause problems. So if you can't get an original power cord, this is something you definitely need to keep in mind. And finally, number 4 is that when it comes to the Type 4 metal cassettes, some of the TDK-MA tapes might have these little white specks on them, which you can see right here. And at first I thought this was either mold or maybe the tape was going bad, but after I did some research online and I found this video from Cassette Comeback, I learned that this white powder is actually just tape lubricant, which has degraded over time. So basically, even though these tapes might look weird, they are totally safe to play, so don't worry about that. Now, if you want to learn even more about Walkmans, here are a few sites you should definitely check out. First, we have WalkmanArchive.com, which has everything from reviews to blogs, wallpapers, and even a section dedicated to Walkman cameos in famous movies. Next up, we have WalkmanCentral.com, which gives you the complete history of every Walkman model ever made, which is really cool. And last of all, there's StereoToGo.com, which has a lot of great forums about Walkmans, cassettes, headphones, boomboxes, stereos, reel-to-reel players, and a bunch of other audio-related stuff. So definitely check them out as well. Now, overall, my final thoughts on cassettes are that in the near future, I think it's very possible that we could see a comeback with this format, just like we've seen with vinyl records. A lot of bands are releasing their music on cassettes again, and a lot of older cars still have tape decks inside them. So it's not a completely far-fetched idea. Also, I think if we all start buying cassettes more, then maybe someone out there in the world will also bring back those immaculate Type 2 Chrome tapes and Type 4 metal tapes. That would be so sweet. But regardless of whatever happens down the road, overall, I'm just really glad to have this Walkman in my collection. So once again, Nico, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Now, what do you guys think about Walkmans and cassettes? Do you play tapes in your setup? Let me know down in the comments below. And yet again, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so you won't miss out on any future videos. And most importantly of all, friends, have a fantastic day, stay safe, and keep spinning that vinyl.